In this particular meeting, my mother was trying to get Susie and I to publicly affirm her marriage to this man.
Just a little while ago, Jonathan Lamb made an announcement that has left everyone stunned. For months, whispers of tension within the Lamb family have been growing louder, but no one expected this. Jonathan, the oldest son of Joni Lamb, has finally spoken out, and what he said could change everything. This isn't just about family drama. It's about deep divisions, hard choices, and the very foundation of Daystar Television Network, the ministry his parents built together. What Jonathan revealed goes beyond personal conflict. It's raising questions about leadership, faith, and what really happened behind the scenes. For those who thought they knew the story, his words just turned everything upside down. And now, the spotlight is on Joni and the network in a way it never has been before. The role and rise of Joni Lamb in Daystar Television Network. Every big success starts with a bold dream, but turning that dream into reality is where the real challenge lies. In 1993, Joni and her late husband, Marcus Lamb, shared a vision to use the power of television to spread the gospel and bring hope to people everywhere. At the time, Christian broadcasting was a growing but challenging field. Many doubted whether they could carve out a place for themselves in such a competitive space. But Joni and Marcus weren't just dreamers, they were doers. Starting with a modest studio and a handful of employees, they took a leap of faith. Their goal wasn't just to create another TV channel. They wanted Daystar to be a beacon of hope and faith for people around the globe. This wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about making a difference in people's lives. Faith can move mountains, as they often reminded each other. And they leaned on that belief as they worked tirelessly to launch their network. Despite the obstacles, their shared commitment to God's vision fueled their journey. What makes a network not just survive, but thrive? The answer is leadership that listens, learns, and leads with love. From the beginning, Joni was not just Marcus's partner in life, but also his partner in building Daystar. While Marcus often took center stage, Joni played an equally crucial role behind the scenes. She was instrumental in shaping the network's programming and overall culture. One of Joni's most notable contributions was her ability to connect with viewers. She understood that Christian television wasn't just about sermons. It was about addressing the real struggles, questions, and joys that people face every day. This understanding led to the creation of Joni Table Talk, a flagship program that became synonymous with Daystar's commitment to faith-filled yet practical conversations. Joni Table Talk wasn't your typical Christian talk show. Its format, intimate, warm, and approachable, allowed Joni to connect deeply with her guests and audience. By inviting faith leaders, authors, and people from all walks of life to share their experiences, she created a space for meaningful discussions. Her ability to navigate tough topics with grace and compassion earned her the trust of viewers worldwide. Joni's warmth wasn't just on screen. Behind the scenes, she fostered a culture of integrity and service at Daystar. Employees often describe her as a leader who listens and cares, always making decisions with the network's mission in mind, to glorify God and share His message. How does a small, local operation transform into a global network reaching millions? It takes faith, vision, and tireless effort. Under Joni and Marcus's leadership, Daystar grew from a single small studio into one of the largest Christian television networks in the world. What started as a local operation expanded to reach millions of homes in over 200 countries. This wasn't just about growing bigger, it was about reaching more people with the message of faith. Daystar's programming, which includes sermons, worship sessions, and talk shows like Joni's, became a source of inspiration and encouragement for countless viewers. Daystar wasn't just about broadcasting, it became a community. Viewers often wrote in to share how a single program or message had changed their lives. Whether it was someone finding hope during a tough time or discovering faith for the first time, Joni and the team knew their work was making an impact. When life throws the unexpected at you, how do you carry on a legacy while building your own? The death of Marcus Lamb and transition of leadership. In 2021, the world was shaken by the loss of Marcus Lamb, co-founder of Daystar Television Network. His death due to COVID-19 complications left a profound void, not just in his family's life, but also among millions of viewers who saw him as a spiritual leader. Marcus had spent decades building Daystar into one of the most prominent Christian broadcasting platforms in the world. His passing left an important question. What would happen to the network and its mission without him? Joni Lamb, Marcus's wife and lifelong partner in ministry, stepped up to carry the mantle. But this transition wasn't simply about continuing the work they had started together. It was about navigating grief, honoring a powerful legacy, and leading a global ministry into a new era. When a visionary leader is gone, what happens next? Marcus Lamb wasn't just a founder, he was the heart of Daystar. His charisma and dedication to spreading the gospel made him a beloved figure in the Christian community. His death left many wondering if Daystar could remain the spiritual anchor it had been for decades. Joni, now the network's leader, faced an uphill battle. She not only had to fill the enormous void left by Marcus, but also had to guide Daystar through a rapidly changing media landscape. Joni's journey to leadership wasn't simply a handoff. It began with heartache. Losing a spouse is devastating on its own, but Joni faced the additional responsibility of keeping Marcus's dream alive while mourning his loss. The situation posed a unique challenge. Could she lead with strength while staying true to the vision they had built together? Can strength rise out of grief? Joni's faith became the cornerstone of her leadership during this time. "We are trusting God," she often said, her words reassuring both her team and millions of viewers. She leaned on the same principles that had guided her and Marcus for years: faith, family, and community. However, the challenge of leadership was about more than faith. Marcus had been the face of the organization, the public speaker, and the visionary. Joni had always been deeply involved behind the scenes, but stepping fully into the spotlight required a shift. Balancing Marcus's legacy with her own voice wasn't easy, especially with the pressures of maintaining a global network. One of Joni's most significant challenges was maintaining Daystar's identity while making necessary changes for the future. Daystar had been built on timeless principles, but the world of media was evolving rapidly. Joni faced decisions about how to keep the network relevant, especially for younger audiences, without losing the trust of its longtime viewers. The stakes were high. Many fans adored Marcus and questioned whether Daystar could continue without his guiding presence. Joni had to not only honor the foundation Marcus had laid, but also demonstrate that she was capable of charting a bold path forward. How do you honor the past while leading toward the future? As Joni settled into her new role, it became clear that she wasn't just a placeholder for Marcus's memory. She was an active and capable leader. She expanded Daystar's outreach efforts, focusing on helping communities in need through disaster relief and international ministry projects. This tangible focus on helping others reinforced Daystar's core mission: to share the love of Christ in both word and action. Joni also sought to connect with a broader audience by emphasizing relevant, faith-based content. Under her leadership, Daystar began tackling modern issues from a biblical perspective, ensuring that its message stayed impactful. Viewers noticed the balance she brought, staying grounded in tradition while embracing change. The transition wasn't without personal struggles. Joni openly talked about the weight of grief and the difficulty of stepping into Marcus's shoes. But instead of letting those challenges define her, she used them to connect with others. She became an example of faith in action, someone who leaned on God to navigate the hardest seasons of life. Her transparency resonated with audiences. Many viewers were also grappling with loss during the pandemic and found comfort in Joni's openness. By sharing her journey, she reminded them that even in the darkest moments, faith could provide strength and hope. Joni's leadership was defined not by imitation, but by authenticity. She didn't try to replicate Marcus's presence. Instead, she focused on what she uniquely brought to the role. Her perspective as a wife, mother, and ministry partner allowed her to lead with compassion and relatability. Over time, Joni's efforts began to pay off. Daystar continued to thrive under her guidance, and viewers saw her as a capable leader who had both the heart and the strength to carry Marcus's vision forward. Joni's remarriage and resulting controversy. In 2023, Joni Lamb, co-founder of Daystar Television Network, made headlines when she announced her marriage to Dr. Doug Weiss, a well-known Christian counselor and author. This announcement came 2 years after the sudden loss of her husband and Daystar co-founder Marcus Lamb in 2021 due to complications from COVID-19. While Joni's remarriage marked a new chapter in her personal life, it also became a flashpoint of controversy, both within her family and among Daystar's audience. The remarriage, though celebrated by many, wasn't just a matter of joy, it was also a storm waiting to break. For some, Joni's decision symbolized healing and hope after a season of loss. For others, it raised questions about spiritual values and timing, shaking the foundation of trust in a network built on biblical principles. When Joni shared her news, a segment of her audience praised her for her strength in finding love again. Supporters called it a testament to her resilience and a sign of divine grace. These viewers admired her journey of navigating loss, leading Daystar, and now stepping into a new season of life. However, the responses weren't all positive. Some in the Christian community questioned the appropriateness of her remarriage, especially given her prominent role as a spiritual leader. The timing of her marriage, just 2 years after Marcus's passing, felt too soon to critics who expected her to remain single longer as a widow. This led to heated debates about whether her decision was consistent with the values that Marcus had upheld and that Daystar had championed for decades. The question that divided audiences: was it too soon? The controversy gained even more traction because it wasn't just the public who had reservations. Joni's oldest son, Jonathan Lamb, openly opposed her decision. For Jonathan, the marriage wasn't only a private family matter. It was also deeply tied to his understanding of Scripture and his father's legacy. Jonathan, who had been a significant part of Daystar's leadership team, believed that Joni's remarriage strayed from the spiritual principles his father had so passionately lived and preached. Marcus Lamb had long been admired for his commitment to traditional Christian teachings, including the sanctity of marriage. To Jonathan, his mother's remarriage felt like a departure from those teachings. He pointed to scriptures that discussed the role of widows, remarriage, and the responsibilities of Christian leaders, suggesting that Joni's decision sent the wrong message to Daystar's global audience. What made the situation even more contentious was Jonathan's choice to voice his concerns publicly. Instead of keeping the matter within the family, Jonathan spoke out in interviews and statements, explaining his reservations. He argued that Joni's remarriage risked tarnishing Daystar's reputation and diluting its spiritual mission. Jonathan's wife, Susie, also joined the conversation, echoing his concerns and suggesting that the network's leadership was prioritizing its public image over addressing real family and organizational challenges. This public disagreement added fuel to an already heated situation. While some saw Jonathan's actions as brave, standing up for what he believed to be biblical truth, others criticized him for airing personal family matters in such a public way. For Joni, this added a painful layer to an already difficult season. Not only was she facing criticism from viewers and the broader Christian community, but she was also navigating a rift within her family. The division within the Lamb family became increasingly apparent. Jonathan and Susie felt that Joni's decision reflected a broader shift in the network's priorities, one that they believed moved away from the spiritual foundation Marcus had built. They feared that Daystar was losing its focus on gospel-centered principles, and they saw Joni's remarriage as a symbol of that shift. They worried it might lead to confusion or even disillusionment among the network's millions of viewers who looked to Daystar for consistent spiritual guidance. For Joni, however, the remarriage wasn't a departure from faith. It was an expression of healing and moving forward. In her view, finding love again was part of God's plan for her life. She believed that her remarriage was a reflection of the hope and renewal that she had spent her career encouraging others to embrace. Still, the backlash was undeniable, and it came not only from her family, but also from some Daystar viewers and stakeholders. Can healing be a controversy? Critics, including some within the Christian community, questioned whether Joni's remarriage aligned with the principles she and Marcus had always championed. They pointed out that as a spiritual leader, Joni was held to a higher standard. Some wondered if her personal decisions might undermine the trust viewers had in Daystar's mission. While Joni had her defenders, who celebrated her courage in stepping into a new chapter, the criticism weighed heavily on her leadership and the network's image. This division within the Lamb family wasn't just personal, it had professional ramifications as well. Jonathan's public disapproval highlighted a deeper tension about the direction of Daystar under Joni's leadership. Was the network still focused on its original mission of spreading the gospel, or had it become more concerned with maintaining its public image and viewership? These were the questions Jonathan raised, and they struck a chord with some Daystar supporters who shared his concerns. Family tensions and ethical disputes. Hook. What happens when faith, family, and leadership collide? This story of the Lamb family offers insight into the complexities of balancing personal convictions with professional responsibilities. Jonathan Lamb's discontent began brewing after the death of his father, Marcus Lamb, in 2021. The loss marked a critical turning point for both the family and the network. With Joni stepping into a more prominent leadership role at Daystar, Jonathan and Susie started to express growing concerns over the direction the network was taking. Their concerns, however, went beyond just business disagreements. They were deeply rooted in matters of faith and integrity, principles that Marcus had long championed. Jonathan and Susie accused Daystar's leadership, specifically Joni, of prioritizing the network's reputation over its spiritual accountability. For Jonathan, this was not merely about preserving the family legacy, but about maintaining the biblical principles upon which Daystar was built. Susie echoed these concerns, emphasizing that internal disputes within the family were being swept under the rug to present a facade of unity to the public. When reputation becomes more important than principles, trust begins to crumble. This growing sentiment among Jonathan, Susie, and even some Daystar viewers posed a serious challenge to Joni's leadership. The friction escalated in 2023 when Joni announced her marriage to Dr. Doug Weiss, a Christian counselor and author. While many viewed the remarriage as a testament to Joni's strength and faith in finding love again, Jonathan saw it differently. He publicly expressed that the decision represented a departure from the spiritual values his father had upheld. His criticism wasn't limited to personal objections, but also extended to the message it sent to Daystar's viewers and supporters. Jonathan argued that Joni's remarriage reflected a shift in priorities, one that, in his view, compromised the network's foundational mission of spreading the gospel. The public airing of these disagreements deepened the divide within the Lamb family. Jonathan's dissent wasn't confined to private conversations. It became a topic of public discussion, adding layers of complexity to an already tense situation. His choice to speak out drew mixed reactions. Some applauded his courage for holding his mother accountable, while others felt that such disputes should have remained private. Should family loyalty silence truth? This question lingered as the Lamb family's disagreements unfolded on a very public stage. Adding fuel to the fire were allegations of misconduct within Daystar's leadership circle. Jonathan and Susie claimed that serious ethical issues involving a relative connected to the network were mishandled. According to Jonathan, instead of addressing these allegations transparently and pursuing justice, Joni chose to protect the network's image. This alleged prioritization of reputation over integrity left Jonathan feeling profoundly disillusioned, not just with his mother's leadership, but with Daystar as an organization. One of the most contentious points was Jonathan's assertion that Joni had actively worked to downplay the seriousness of the misconduct to avoid public scrutiny. This included attempts to shield the family member at the center of the allegations from accountability. For Jonathan, this was a betrayal of the values Daystar claimed to represent. He believed that such actions eroded trust not only within the network, but also among its audience, who had come to see Daystar as a beacon of spiritual guidance. Jonathan's refusal to stay silent came at a personal cost. He alleged that Daystar's leadership offered him a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, which would have prevented him from publicly discussing the allegations or sharing any related information. Jonathan, however, declined to sign the agreement, citing his commitment to transparency and accountability. This decision ultimately led to his dismissal from the network, a move that further strained his relationship with his mother and the Daystar leadership team. What's the price of speaking the truth? For Jonathan, it meant losing his place in the family business and deepening the divide with his mother. The fallout from these events was significant. Within the Lamb family, Jonathan's decision to go public with his concerns created an unbridgeable chasm. His criticism of Joni's leadership wasn't just seen as a personal attack, but as a direct challenge to the stability of Daystar itself. For Joni, who had spent decades building the network alongside her late husband. This was a deeply personal betrayal. The internal backlash within Daystar was equally profound. Staff members and board members reportedly began questioning Joni's leadership decisions, particularly her handling of the misconduct allegations. For an organization that prided itself on transparency and accountability, the perception that its leadership had failed to uphold these principles was damaging. Some within the network viewed Jonathan's actions as a necessary wake-up call, while others saw them as an unnecessary disruption. Can an institution survive when its core values are called into question? This is the challenge Daystar now faces as it seeks to recover from the fallout. Despite the controversy, Joni remains at the helm of Daystar. However, the conflict with Jonathan has left a lasting impact on the network's image and the family's relationships. For Jonathan, the decision to speak out wasn't just about holding his mother accountable. It was about protecting the integrity of the mission his father had dedicated his life to. Is the truth worth the cost of losing everything? For the Lamb family, this question continues to define their journey. The Lamb family's story is far from over, and Jonathan's latest announcement has only added more layers to the mystery. What happens next for Daystar and Joni Lamb? Will the family find a way to heal, or has the damage already gone too far? As the dust settles, one thing is clear. This is a defining moment for their legacy and the network they built. What do you think about Jonathan's decision to speak out? Was he right to go public, or should these matters have stayed within the family? And where do you see Daystar going from here? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update on this unfolding story. Stay tuned, there's so much more to uncover.